Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. So I made a bit of progress since last time. I half thought of starting up the stream, but I just kind of started out researching stuff and found a lot of cool things, like some people doing rendering in web worker threads, people doing quad trees to determine which points are where. I did a little bit with some quick lineage tagging in my scripts, and I found also did a faded layer to make the points easier to see. I found the time dimension plugin, which gives you a nice little time controller and everything. And I suppose I should be working on legends at some point. But this pretty much accomplishes our front-end goals. I want to rewrite a lot of this stuff, I think. I saw a lot of nice tricks, some better ways of doing some of the coordinate conversions as I was looking around some of the other stuff. But we've got something that's serviceable given some static data. What we want to do is get a thing that will automatically update every day and allow us to, develop a bunch of UI to query time periods, query a family line, query a character, all that kind of stuff. But we've got something there. So this window's going to be way too big now. I think I did all this checked in, yeah. I was doing a little bit with this data. Okay, yes, I remember seeing the print path in there. Let's see, is there anything I need in history? No. Lifelog got a place to store a lineage ID, which right now is just the player ID, which doesn't account for any cross-server stuff. But it was serviceable. We've got point export with all of that stuff. All right, so this project here is a right mess. But I could spend all day cleaning it up. So I'm probably going to, see, to quickly publish the easiest thing I know how to do is to do Heroku with their database. I know I can do scheduled tasks there. It will not be the most cost-effective because it's going to need a moderate-sized database, and that's assuming I don't break that limit. So we're pretty much going to have to do one record per life without any accessory tables to fit within the record limit. And look, all my browser tabs got reset. Oh. So, add-ons. Now, I guess there are some other options, but the one I'm most familiar with is Heroku Postgres, which if you get down to there, your basic is the one that I'm familiar with. It goes up to 10,000 roads. There are something like, is that 10 million? Anyway, there's like 5 million lives. So that'll take up most of your space, and I'm going to want a few hundred for tracking the data files, so we don't have a file system to track that. So I'm going to need a database I can use. I could try. Now, since I think they're set up for Windows, they usually like to install as system daemons. Whereas I'd like to prefer to isolate things for projects. I think there is a system install. The other thing I could do. Let's see, I think my Docker stuff is kind of all set up around the OneLife Docker right now. Possibly get a... Or I guess I could do a Vagrant environment for running the server. That would be another option other than going over to my laptop. So we have to start up a machine. Oop. Need to... I mean, there's probably just one called Postgres. Just do it yourself. Latest stable Postgres image. Okay, we're still getting there's a lot of layers in this one. Databases. Directory to serve, mount point for Postgres. Well, this is Unix again. Now you see, you're mounting a local directory. Well, maybe it won't be that inefficient. Seems like it should really be a data volume. I'll be able to connect to Postgres. All right, so we've got at least one game volume right now. Docker volume create. All right, now I've got, oops. Some startup scripts here for my normal setups. So I need to mount data. Oh, they had the thing about where to mount it in the container. The settings override data. This will work for now. I don't know if I actually need this to be interactive. Maybe to start off with for some testing purposes. All right, so you are mapping this into var bin PostgreSQL data. And I think it was a Windows-specific thing where I had to do the double slash. Or maybe that's only for my own file system paths. Anyway. We don't need that. Your port is 5432. And Postgres container default command that's there so I can override other commands. Server stopped. Init process complete. Database system is ready. And that took over that console, which should be fine. All right, so that's one step. So I guess the disadvantage of this is that, no. Now this project has to install Rails to do anything, but I'm going to need a lifelog parsing. So it's either I take the time to turn that into a gem, or, well, no, I could do local, no, because I'm publishing it to Heroku, everything has to be there if it's not publicly accessible. Well, there's GitHub references, I guess. This doesn't even have a gem spec. If I got a gem spec, I could probably GitHub reference it. And I just have to package up some of the code for the other project. There's a lot of it's just manual scripts right now. And I do kind of want to spend some time packaging this up at some point. Get a bin command for most of the easy stuff. What would it take? What would it take to turn that into a gem? I could get reference. You don't like my color scheme. And the real problem with this is that Firefox is not doing very good at adapting to changes in color scheme anymore. Yeah, I have to relaunch every single tab. Alright, so reestablish all our stuff. Okay, so we need the gem spec. Does something. Now, this is specifically the family trees project. Well, it's turning into more of a general data project. For now, we'll do that. Gosh. Lose track of time. 7th. Summary, description. I guess lifelog would end up being a better. It might end up being lifelog, but we'll see. As long as it's just local or get reference, it's generally fine. And they're doing align stuff. It doesn't have a home page right now. The files is where it gets a little bit annoying at times. I know that there's automated means to do that. I always worry about them not working in sort of offline scenarios. MIT is pretty standard Ruby stuff. Yeah, maybe Ruby itself is different. I think that's the Rails tradition. As far as gemmable files, these are not really set up well for a gem environment. Now, why is that one capitalized? Oh. It's okay, I want to search everything. But I have to stick you somewhere else to do that. And apparently I've still got a lot of stuff. Wait. Lib monument, did I not change that? Okay, I was starting to do that. Oh, I'm on a case-insensitive file system. That's why I didn't notice. Okay. Now where'd you put my data directory? Blah, blah, blah. No, no. Lifelog monument. This doesn't get into the little web server stuff I'd started. But for what we need to do gem stuff... now, I'm forgetting how it works to do bundler for a local gem. Oh, this needs dependencies, which actually should take over. Some of this stuff. Gem push. For to add one entry in the gem spec. Dynamic gem spec, executables, tests. Nothing about dependencies. Add development dependency, add runtime dependency. And then the versions. S.add. Well, it's actually, these are going to be runtime. HTTP is only for the fetch. Did I? No. Noko Giri. Graphiz. Oh. I can't do any Graphiz stuff. So the question is, would that even install on Heroku if it has a binary component? Because I think I had to give that a path to a... Well, to load that library. I eventually do want to be able to generate trees. Maybe the other library didn't require that. All right, now, bundler, working with bundler and gem specs. With gem specs, creating a gem from scratch. I can generate a gem file for your... You already have a gem with a gem spec, a gem file for your gem. Just gem spec? Base dependencies. A specific gem spec. What do you see? Using. One gem file dependency anytime gems installed. Okay. Oh, now one interesting problem with this is we have, well, I don't think the gem file lock would be a problem. Maybe it would be a problem. All right, this is the current name of the project. I might need to kind of split this up in different repos later. But that means we could potentially have a separate project that used this instead of including all the Rails junk in here. Oh, that was the gem spec. Why did we... Why did it delete the getkeep file? I apparently moved that back into the wrong spot. Did I put it into Docker? Yes. Gem spec. All right, now we've got a chance at making a separate Rails project. Although it's going to have to be a direct GitHub reference when we get everything set up. I don't remember if I've done, well, there's ways you can have... local bundler overrides, I think. All right, so how does this... Well, actually... Do we currently have... We do. Now, we do have to be mindful of options here. Template. Is there an online reference to this? The Rails command line? There is no list of just the options. I already looked. All right. Database equals Postgres. JavaScript library. Where is... Oh, but how old is this? This is Rails 4. I think... Oh, this is Rails 4. There should be an option. Well... What do I even have? Okay, 523 is recent enough. Reconfigure smaller stack for API-only apps. Oh, there's probably gonna be some other stuff I want to futz with. Database equals Postgres. Oop, I didn't put a... What doesn't it not like? Database. Maybe it has to be a blank directory? At the path you specify. Ah, path. Oh, and how about new? And then options. PostgreSQL. Yeah, this is kind of a me trying to pick up some stuff in the middle of a long series of projects. I have some code that parses some data files. I would like to get that onto the web so that I can have a live updating data feed. My interim solution to that is just going to be try and get it up on Heroku. Because I know I can do that. Well, once I get the incremental data updates figured out, I can do that somewhat quickly with a Rails app, even though I'm not sure it's going to be cost effective to run. So right now I am trying to get Rails actually installed. Okay, so that gave us a default, should be an API project. Still gave us a views directory. I guess they're thinking it might do mailers. This doesn't really have anything. So we've got a gem file. It looks like it already installed everything. Or I guess the other question is, are you familiar with Rails at all? Or just where am I in the process? I don't have a lot of context about where you are either. Yeah, so that is just the Rails new command. It sets up a brand new application storage. That's a new one. Absolutely, I say, okay, so yeah, Ruby on Rails is a framework in a Ruby, which is a dynamic language. I might want to be experimenting with other things, but this is something I know how to get up relatively quick. Just so I can have some basic features there. So it gave us a ton of stuff. Okay, we got our own Rails app. I think it installed it. I might need some consoles here. Yeah, so I do a little bit better with more specific questions. And if I took some time to prepare a presentation or something, I can sort of back it off. Let's see, it's kind of an older one, sort of originally from the, render a page age. They've got some stuff to handle the newer JavaScript single page applications, but it's still a little bit more in the request response model. But I'm doing this as primarily a data server, so that's kind of okay as long as I don't want to do any streaming data. I mean, it's there, but I'd do it. It's model view controller based. That's for the HTML rendering, so I'm not sure how well it translates to this stuff. So generally you have data models, which by default is a object relational mapper to the database. Controllers receive and interpret web requests, and then views are using a Ruby-based template language to output HTML sort of by default. And there's lots of variations you can do on that. So since that installed, Rails server, or even past the basics. Ah. Really? It's curious because I'm not on Planetary Annihilation. Maybe there's like a currently streaming status or something. Yeah, I've done a bunch of Planetary Annihilation mods. I've kind of fallen out of that one. All right, so it's on 3000. One of my things is a server, but it's not a Rails server. The Puppet Master tournament support stuff. Not connect to server. Oh, you're right, it's not going to be localhost. For the Docker server, I actually have to configure this differently. So get up here, database. So it must just default to localhost. Okay, development host. Oh. Running my map server, which I don't need right now. Docker machine IP. Okay. And I have too many consoles. Okay, there's my server. Oh, and I guess more specifically what I'm trying to do. Actually, here's the public one. So, other game I'm playing right now is 1 Hour 1 Life. Oop, no, that's the actual game. And I made up a thing that maps the in-game areas to some level of detail. And what I've been playing around with is mapping where people are playing on this. But this is just a static snapshot of data. So I want to get a data server that can update this daily and perhaps select, lives you've played. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, this is the playable area. The monuments are kind of where people have played in the past. If you go to, I mean, it's he basically said, well, we can go up to integer size. So almost none of this territory is actually used. You can kind of see it. I've only filled in areas where people have actually been born or died at times. So you really only start seeing it closer in here in a couple outliers. But yeah, for yesterday, people were only in here. I mean, well, you can kind of see here. This is probably one person, one female, dropping babies as she goes. So you can kind of get a sense of how far a person can get in a life. So it takes a while to move to cover distance, but yeah, I mean over time, and the distribution algorithm used to be dropping people in wider radiuses. People move around a bit. But yeah, yesterday we were just in here. All right, so we got a server. Oh, I haven't actually initialized the database yet. Well, it most of the data is generated on demand. I actually had to pre-generate a bunch of it for the map. Maybe I'll try and get fancy and actually write those algorithms, but man, I would expect connect to database. There's nothing I have to actually fetch yet. Cannot connect to server. Okay. Do we have anything on our database tab? Ready to accept connections. Can we? I have too many terminals for all my different projects. Oop, actually, no, you I didn't need. Oh, I still need PSQL to have the daemon. Actually, here's a interesting question. Can I? Well, I can't do interactive terminals on here. Not effectively, anyway. These aren't links, huh? Huh. I guess they have different distribution methods for some of the others. Yeah. But if Rails can't connect, I need to test connections straight up to the database. Oh, I guess it could be... Maybe I need to... I wonder... hub dot... Is that it? Postgres. Do they have information maintained by... Start a Postgres. Okay, so they pretty much expect you to specify the password. Command line tools, which won't be available until I reset the session, probably. Let's see if we need to do this. Okay, and then you can run PSQL in the session. So it looks like there is no default password. Recommended. So now, is that still running? Oh, it is. Is it stop? Well, the friendly name isn't even that friendly. Okay, so I had a little start script for this. So the recommended way to pass this is -e. Actually, name is a thing I should be using more. -e. For a local development machine, I'm not too terribly fussed about it. I don't even know what a default installations password is. Okay, you're Ruby. Oh. Gotta do that. At least one argument. Name. Okay, so which part are you not liking here? Okay, so you did not like the environment variable. Oh, okay. So why is that? Oh, oh, and now it works. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we have a bunch of similar stuff here. Run. Oh, but this is not a usefully interactive terminal is the problem. Because Windows doesn't support TTYs. Cannot connect to server, no such file or directory. Yeah, I'm starting to get tempted just to run a Vagrant here because this, well, I can install, if I install this, I'll get the command line tools. I can try connecting to the server we've got running. It thinks it's on that port. We've supposedly mapped that to our port on the machine that's on a different IP address. I'll have to do a long path to it until I can restart the shell. Yeah, it's convenient for this computer is better for streaming than my laptop. My laptop would actually be where I would usually do this kind of stuff. Thought maybe I could do it with Docker, but Docker's built on Linux, so it's just not so great on Windows. Oh, how to use this image? Now, well, maybe it's actually complaining about the database rather than because I haven't actually like created the database yet. Though maybe the server needs to do that. I would think at least think it would return the hello message. So where were we? I already started exiting that. So I am more of a freelancer, yeah. The DB create? Couldn't connect. Yeah, that's like could not connect to server. And it thinks it's up and running. Well, I guess we got a Windows one now. This is a very weird way to put this. All right, so stop that since we can't seem to connect to it. And we find our Rails database YAML. It should default to localhost. No password supplied. Maybe it defaults to blank? Oh, it's default user. What is the default user? Yep. Oh, it defaults to string. Okay. What is the default user? Not unlock the Unix user. PSQL Postgres. No password supplied. Now, this is one of the things I'd worked out in the local environment on my other computer, is you could generally just start it up and do stuff with your local user. All right, we'll need to test this much out now. I wasn't even get the Docker stuff. Which I seem to have closed. Or is it this? Okay. They said you could use PSQL. Oh, H must be the host? PSQL. Well, actually, if I'm running it inside the container, would it be able to reach that IP? Or it's inside the machine. Right, it's looking for the Unix domain socket. And this is where the lack of terminal becomes kind of an issue. Yeah, they're both up. You can't even exit it properly. Alright, so where the heck... PostgreSQL 11 bin PSQL. Program files. PostgreSQL 11 bin PSQL. Do you have the same terminal problems? Could not connect to server. Okay, 000 should mean it's listening on all addresses. Do I have to do something for Docker machine to expose ports? No, because I told it to port map it. I know I've connected to the game server on Docker. Alright, well. Oh, so your problem was authentication. Maybe we should be looking more under a more general thing. Oh, Linux subsystem for Windows, huh? And we sort of have that. Yeah, this is apt-get. And there's Ruby installer. That might be what I've got. Install Rails. For user Postgres. Postgres. Trying to create a new database. Well, maybe a GUI would be useful for this kind of thing. What was this thing? Okay, so this is pure installation stuff. Oh, it's just a different directory. Oof, this thing's still going. User Postgres. And it connected fine. Localhost 5432. And this console is lost to me. So if we have, well, is it DB create or DB init? Okay. No password supplied. It already exists? Maybe because the command failed? Are we not using development here? I wish I knew. Development. Oh, I might need to do adapter. No? Default. Development. Well, it's not saying much of anything. Okay, so yes, we should be doing it this way. But, seems like. Oh, DB setup. Database connectivity issue. Well, then why does... I guess I closed pgadmin. How can pgadmin connect, but nothing else can? And we already lost one terminal trying to get PSQL up. And I have to type out the path. Well, I guess I want to do that. Sets environment variables. Path, PG data, PG database, PG user, PG port, localdir. It's off in La La Land. Well, I am trying to use the git bash here. Windows doesn't like you to wants to do PowerShell now. Yeah, one of these will give you a shell here, but it's a PowerShell. What if we did... Oh, PSQL. Nope. So is something particular to the fact that we're running in the git bash? Okay, that wasn't it. Maybe it's... Oh. Okay, well that was a bit too much. I just wanted stuff in the terminal. Well, okay, so that's at least giving me some console output. Which does nothing to explain why username Postgres password is not working. I mean, maybe I try to create the database? Doesn't feel that way. Environment, credentials for each environment, not supplied, empty password. To authenticate the role, no username field. I guess I could just create a matching user. But where the heck? This is making a gem, Rails new. This was the reference. Oh, well, it's looking like an error. Oh, because there's no favicon. Get a full stack trace, huh? Well, something somewhere worked. I have another one of these. Maybe I didn't save sometime? Alright, C test log, storage test. Da, 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 da. All right, just a baseline as we inevitably mess things up. JBuilder wrote us active. Oh, storage must be for files. Okay. Thanks for stopping by. This doesn't give me a whole lot of guidance on where to put my stuff, though. Because that's like development. Well, I believe that they have sensible defaults. But I know that there is, for instance, there's like a secrets file that you could, put API keys and things into is one of the ways they're looking at handling that. I've generally been doing for Roku, just the environment variables. I can get, I'm not sure I have Foreman in this environment, or I did, but it had some problems with the node watcher I was using. I'm going to install that here too. So I have to look up, I think it's just this. To get started, path. We're just calling it this for now. Path is okay. It seemed to be okay with that so far. Now I haven't tested out the gem style requires on any of these packages yet, so that might be a interesting bit. So right now, all of the database-oriented import is going to be here, and actually, I'm going to have to rewrite my own fetch routines, or abstract them a little bit. Okay. So what we've got right now is something like this. So in order to, well, this could be an import data structure. It's going to have a very similar structure for our database. So there's a way to fully specify stuff on the, well, if you add a model, does that add the migration? And then again, I might want to use something else. So, migration. Where there's a couple things I need. I need lifelogs. I'm going to need like file input. I guess create lifelogs. So we think we're going to have something like, so it's not going to be highlight, not going to be player name. So those are just extra little tag things we can do. We might go through and make lineages. So we are going to have, I'm probably going to do a server. It's probably going to be more efficient to do server as an ID. But that would mean I'd have to create my server table first. That would be more of a seeds thing, probably. So we're going to have, well, Rails tables implicitly have an ID. Server name, it's going to have, in theory, we know, like for big server 1, we know when it was first and last existed. Do we care about that for anything? Let's see, we could do current epoch. But really, what we guess we want is like last epoch. I may have to add some of this stuff later as I get it figured out. I was thinking there'd be more data. I could have, well, current effective servers if we had start and end times. Oh, created at is generally the record. Updated at. Oh, but that's timestamps. Man, that's a complicated word. Okay, so that is active record. I need if we have epochs, we'll have to continue updating the latest one. And does this work? Okay, so that creates a table. We've got seeds. Oh, this is where I do need models if we want to do... Well, we may need to do active record to keep things moving. So first one... Force plural. Did I get my model file or not? Nope, because I already made the table and... Well, this kind of tells me something about it. Application record, which is all I need to be able to do seeds. Server.create. And I did server name. Oh, yeah, I've got this syntax. So these, as far as we know... Okay, so I don't have an actual start date. I know when the earliest date in the logs would be. And because I blocked that, I can't even get in there. So like server 1, I think it was actually March. But server logs start here. Oops. Notepad wasn't the most effective thing to do for that. So we've got a... Well... I mean, Jason says mid-February. Logs don't start until April. And I swear, actually, that... Oh. We must have lost server 1 somewhere. Oh no, we're in size right now. March 9th. Seeds. So if we do... server name... created at... Now I might just want to do like a date there. Maybe go back 1. Because in theory, these times are going to be a little bit different for every server, so I can't just do that trivially. Now, I thought one of these structures, and it's going to be removed at nil. And then the other two are a little bit more peculiar. Big server 1. Although, did its lifelogs get copied? Oops. So we've got an exact timestamp. Now, for a Ruby time, do we do anything with that? I think it's just a timestamp. Well, that's a pretty old version of time. Maybe if we get here, we can find... I don't know exactly what version I'm on. It's probably closer to this. Or is time even core? Maybe not all the methods are core. From a timestamp, time.at. Remember, okay, I'm pretty sure he's seconds. And no, didn't leave it up. And then our last log. Although I guess this is something I could... Well, this is a remove, which we're not going to be able to do automatically. Automatic necessarily. Oh. Okay, we can work with that. Big server 2. Oh, you know what? I should probably... oh, yeah, I guess I did... Oh, because this should have been indented. Oops. Shoot, yeah. Lots of distractions today. Now, this is normally expects to be run once. So is this the only static data we need? Oh, big server 2 is going to have different times. It might slightly overlap. Let's see, so January 25th, if it did inherit 29th. Okay, so it did not inherit the data. And you are not removed. So, yeah, that ended up being a little bit disappointing in terms of what we could actually accomplish there. Time. Oh. All right, and then hit add app, db migrate, db schema. And then we're actually going to have to work on, let's see, I'll need, well, I think I want an epochs table. Arguably, that could allow me to cross servers on the main table, although... I've been debating whether I should include server in the main table because just is going to be such a common thing to search for. But I guess once you get your server ID, you just filter on that for your typical queries. All right, unfortunately, I do have an appointment later, so I have to get lunch taken care of and get out of here. So that is going to be it for now. Get that off. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. What do we have going on? And this is about when I tend to be streaming. We're having to wrap up a little bit early today. Let's see, that looks like it's over. Okay, I don't see any other web dev right now. I do see Toaster Fuel doing some game dev stuff. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.